Over the years, you've heard me ask wealth manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So on our Across the Desk feature this morning, I am hosting people who work within the funeral service parlor industry. And I want us to just find out more about their work. I mean, you know, in South Africa, we have funerals that are deeply rooted in cultural tradition and in community values. They serve not only as a farewell to the deceased, but also as a vital expression of identity, of respect, of collective mourning. But behind the scenes, there are professionals who actually dedicate their lives to ensuring that our loved ones are treated with dignity in their final journey, right? And that families are supported during some of their most painful moments. So today on Across the Desk, I thought we should take some time to shine the light on the people who do this important work, right? The undertakers and the funeral parlor owners who walk beside us in times of loss, because they navigate cultural practices, they navigate legal processes, they deal with the emotional toll and the business side of things. So they really do it all. And I wanted us to find out more about the work that they do. If you've got your own questions or you're in the industry yourself, you want to share your thoughts with us, you can call us on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Let me introduce you to my guests who are with me here in studio. We've got Elsabe Basilio, who's a managing director at the National Funeral Directors Association of South Africa. Elsabe, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Clement. I'm fine, thank you.
Great. We also have Mike Collinge, who is with Collinge and Co. Funerals. Mike, thank you for also coming through.
Thanks, Clement.
And we have Nhlanhla Bembe, who's the founder of Rainy Days Funeral Parlor. Nhlanhla, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners.
So, I want us to start off with just how you began in the industry. And I'll start with you, Elsabe. Was there anything that really propelled you towards working in the industry?
Well, Clement, I was born on the premises of a funeral home. My dad was a funeral director. So at that stage, he worked for a corporate company. And we used to move. We used to stay on the premises. And I heard Bongani refer to 6 feet under this morning.
Yes.
Not like that at all.
Yeah, you didn't find some foot somewhere.
No, my father tried to protect us from that side of the business, but we used to see, the purses going in, bodies being brought in. So I grew up in the industry, and I always said I'll never ever do this.
Yeah.
And then I actually studied teaching, became a teacher. And after a year of having odd jobs in teaching because we couldn't get, permanent positions, I actually said to my dad, do you need anybody at the office? He says, no, I need a receptionist. And I said, okay, let me work there until I find a job, a proper job.
Says someone who says, I'll never do this.
Yes. And when I got in,
yeah,
that's where I belong. That's my passion. That's what I
What
love.
made it feel at home? Like, this is where I belong. This is what I want to do.
The families, the reward when they come back and they say, that's exactly what we wanted.
Wow.
That's exactly what my dad needed. That's exactly what my mom requested. Everything was perfect and they are happy.
Yeah.
Because it's a very difficult time for the family.
True. Nhlanhla, what about you? How did you start in the industry?
My first interaction with the funeral industry,
Yeah.
I think I was a 15-year-old, a dad to my friend, owned a funeral parlor in Welkom.
Yes.
So my friend said to me one weekend, come, let's go to Welkom. He didn't even tell me. Shout out to you, Bareng Musiako.
Yeah. And you didn't know what he did?
I didn't know when he said, let's go to Welkom, that we were going to work in a funeral parlor. I knew they owned a funeral parlor, so I thought I was visiting. So when we arrived there, I saw that, we are going to work. So that is how the back beat me.
And since
I
then,
knew
you
from
never
then that I wanted to be an undertaker because the late Mr. Winston Musiako was a very successful business person. So I wanted to be like him. So he was my role model.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into the funeral industry.
Mike, when did the buck bite you?
So I finished my 2 years national service. Came out there and I got a job building low-cost housing in the townships. And that was at the start of 1990s. With all that upheaval. And it just got too bad. I left there and couldn't get a job. And in those days, you still had newspapers. Okay, advertise had jobs vacant in the newspaper, and you used to write letters and post. So I applied for every job that I could. Too young, too old, overqualified, underqualified, whole thing. My dad saw an advert for a hearse driver. He said, "Go for it. It's a good job." And I go, "No, you are touched. There is no way I'm going to do." My mom had just died, but I needed a job. So the advert was on a Sunday. It was in the Sunday Tribune. I was down in Durban, Sunday Tribune. The Wednesday. I don't know if I phoned them, I wrote them a letter, but I got the job.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it. My mom. Every time
You remember your mom.
I looked at that person in the coffin, that was my mom.
Yeah.
And then one day, it was like a switch. You need to treat that person as if it's your mom or your dad, but it's not your mom or your dad. You can't get involved. Okay? Because if you get too involved, you can't do your job properly. And once that switch flipped, then it's a good job.
Yeah.
I did embalming and all that.
And ever since, you've
Ever
been there.
since. 35 years ago.
So how do you deal, Elsabe, with the fear? Because for some reason as human beings, we are conditioned to fear like the people who are deceased or dead bodies, for lack of a better phrase. Is that something you overcome? Because I bet you now, if there was a dead body or if someone's remains together here, me and Abel are probably the first one to run out of here. Because I don't know how, but we are conditioned to be scared of the people who are no longer alive. How do you overcome something like that?
Look, it's the fear of the unknown. People don't know. So if you haven't had death in your family and you've experienced it, you won't know what it's about. You know, my own sister that stayed with us, she came to my office one day and I just wanted to show her I painted a section of the office. And when I took her through this closed door and I turned around, she was this pale like a ghost. And she said to me, "Oh my goodness, I thought you were taking me to the mortuary." Now she's seen this since we were growing up. But still, she is terrified of it. So, you know, for us as funeral directors, when we get in new staff and we have to do training in-house, we introduce them slowly. We don't just put them one side and say, "Now you're going to do the preparation of the deceased," or whatever. We bring them in slowly. And you can immediately see if it's a calling for them or it's not.
Yeah.
So the preferred, you prefer to have staff members that see it as a calling and not just a job.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of you overcome, because we get touched every single day still after 40 years in the industry. So
Sure. So, Nhlanhla, the preparation of the deceased, is it something you've also had to do?
Yes, I've done a lot.
My goodness.
Yeah, I'm actually not scared of the deceased.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the living people.
exactly.
Actually, you're right.
Yes.
That's what you should be most
100%.
scared of.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I mean, you can't tell me you worked with the brother there,
Yeah.
and he drops dead now, and now you're scared of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what happens. So yeah, I've prepared so many bodies, and I still do.
What does that entail? Does it entail washing them? Does it entail preserving it, putting it in the, I don't know, you call them fridges?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you don't say a prayer before? You're so used to it now. You just do it.
Yeah, no, I'm used to it. It includes washing them, dressing them, embalming them. You take care of them as if they are still alive. Because this is somebody's family member.
Do you talk to them? Like,
Well-
do you sometimes, like, I mean, some people, like, do you sometimes, like, do you sing along, or are you just silent the whole time? Like, what's your regime, like, your process normally when you do that?
Well, I don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Well, I sometimes drive a hearse.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would say, I'm taking you home
I'm taking
now.
you home, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes in our cultures,
yeah.
we
speak to the dead.
speak to the dead.
Yes, it's our
Yeah.
culture. So sometimes I do and tell them that hey,
Yeah.
I'm taking you home. I'll tell you a story. I went to bury Sangoma lady.
Yeah.
It was a Sangoma. So I had a problem with my starter, the car. So I told the lady who was driving the hearse, don't switch off the car.
Yes.
You know. And when she arrived there, she switched off the car. She forgot.
And so it couldn't start again.
Yeah. Now, because as you know, as black people,
Yeah.
and they were saying, yay, she didn't want to be buried here.
Yes.
You know, and you know, they bent in paper, you know, to talk to the ancestors. While they were busy doing that, I told the other guys that push that car is gonna start. The car started,
And they
just after
they did that, yeah.
And they said, "You see that?" So
We have spoken to her.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
She's now
So-
ready to go.
So I'm not sure if that was
Yeah.
because of that.
Who
or
knows? Yeah, it
because
could be.
Yeah.
Okay, so and Mike, how do you deal with families that sometimes want to handle bodies differently to how normally you do it, you know, as a funeral service? Because I mean, maybe some families say, no, we have to be the one that wash the deceased, or we want to do certain things as part of rituals. How far do you open the door to allow families to do that?
We try as far as possible allow them to do what their heart is telling them to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that is what they need to do. If a family has a good goodbye at the funeral, the rest of their lives is going to be so much easier than if they have regrets. I don't believe that it's my place to tell them what to do. Okay, there's certain things that need to happen, and I can give them guidance. There are times where you need to be firm with people.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a family that said, I asked families, did your mom have a favorite song that you want played at the service? And I had a family that goes, yeah, an 80-year-old lady, huh? Her favorite, there's a song by Rihanna and Eminem. So I go, okay, no, that's cool. That's cool.
Rihanna and Eminem.
2 hours, Google, huh?
Yeah.
There's one song by Rihanna and Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the name of the song?
I don't know.
Burn, Baby, Burn. And they wanted played at a cremation service. So I phoned the son and I go, listen, I normally go, whatever floats your boat. Yeah, do whatever you feel is right. We are not playing this song at your mom's funeral.
Ben, baby Ben, well, the
Yeah,
cremation is
yeah.
underway.
So he goes, oh, no, that's okay. Then let's play Frank Sinatra. And I'm going, Eminem, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
How do you get to that?
Yeah.
So you need to guide the family.
Okay.
So if
Yeah.
they want a pink and purple casket, we'll do a pink and purple
Yeah.
casket.
Yeah.
Okay. We've had funerals where we have run out of tequila before the funeral has started. Whatever floats their boat.
Wait,
Okay.
that happens?
Yeah.
They can ask for that to... Oh, wow. Oh, that's fascinating. All right, it's 23 minutes now after 10 o'clock. I'm enjoying this chat. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Elsabe, Mike, and Nhlanhla. I see your questions coming through as well. We'll take your calls and WhatsApp voice notes. It's 23 after 10.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Yeah, on Across the Desk this morning, I'm hosting funeral undertakers, people who work in the funeral service, who own funeral parlors. They do the incredible work of ensuring that our loved ones are given the final dignified send-off. And we're finding more about their work. You can give us a call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702 at 26 minutes after 10 o'clock. Let's go to your WhatsApp voice notes. I'm going to ask you guys now to wear the headphones, and then we'll listen to some WhatsApps and take some calls as well.
Hi, Clement. This is such an awesome conversation. I am not scared of dead bodies. The first time I saw somebody dying was when I was 13, and it was my grandmother who had been bedridden for about 4 years.
Sure.
And when she transitioned, my family made us a part of it. We were there. We held her hand. We kissed her. We said goodbye. And that healed so much of pain, and it helped with the grieving process. Years later, my dad died, and I was the only one in the family who could bath him. We don't let dead bodies that died in the home to go to the morgue without being washed. That was tradition in our family. I was 19. No, actually, I should have been 21 or 22. I bathed my father's body, and it gave me the closure I didn't know I needed.
Hi, Clement. How are you? Yes. I used to be scared of the people, of the dead, of the deceased, until I worked at City Funeral. It was long, 80s day. I think it's 93, 94, 95, around there. And then I even now I'm not scared of a dead body. I can do everything. I can do everything. Yeah. Thanks, Clement.
Hey, Clement. Lovely that you got us on radio today. Good opportunity to share some insights, some stats. I hope the team there will be able to share a whole lot more. However, I also joined the industry about 5 years ago. In fact, just when COVID started to break out in the country. And, I had hoped to make money at that time, but I didn't, unfortunately, because of the legislation, regulations. I was not fully registered, and I thought it was just a quick in and out, type of business. Nonetheless, my passion lies in, more than anything, creating customer experience within the funeral business. And secondly, my passion lies in preparing the bodies, working on the deceased, stitching them up, washing them up, and boxing them in and transporting them safely back to the family, to the church and all. So lovely listening to my colleagues in the industry. Our business name is called Siama Mudibedi Funeral Services. We specialize nationally as well as cross-border repatriations. Thank you, Clement. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Elsabe, are there cases where some bodies are not claimed, or they're claimed after a long time?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
There are. What happens is if a person passes away and it's a destitute person, nobody claims them. Then what happens usually is if it's mortuary, the government mortuary, or if the hospitals, they actually you have to put in tenders to actually become that service provider to that hospital or to that municipality. So then what happens is if they have bodies that haven't been claimed for, I think 3-4 months, sometimes up to a year, then they would phone that funeral parlor. You would go and collect the deceased and put them in the coffin, And in Pretoria, what we used to do is bury them. So you would bury 3 people on top of each other, and we had to keep record of that. Because if a family comes back to claim the deceased, we need to know exactly where the person is buried. And then what they do is that amount that the municipality paid to us, that's very little, they have to pay that to the municipality, and then they can actually exhume the deceased and take
How much time is it for the families to claim the deceased? So by the time they haven't claimed, then you bury them. How much time?
No, they've got time. We've had families that come to our offices after 3-4 years, and they were still looking for their loved one, and now they found that this person had passed, and it was at the government mortuary. They ended up going to this specific government mortuary, and there were photos, and they actually identified the person.
Yeah.
So we assisted them to exhume the deceased from that grave.
Okay. Someone was asking Nhlanhla about counseling, because, I mean, and not only because of, you see, dead bodies, because you get used to that, as you said, but you see a lot of families that go through grief. Does that affect you sometimes where, I mean, you see how heartbreaking like some family is on a funeral, like someone died, it was unexpected or whatever the case is, and it's just breaking them.
Yeah, it does. I'll make an example. Remember last year we had kids in Soweto who died of
dying.
Yeah. So while we were
poison food.
Yeah. While we were conducting that funeral with the organization that I lead, which is the Southern African Chamber of Undertakers, it was heartbreaking for me to see those kids, considering that a year before that I lost my own son. So
sorry about that.
I knew how it felt. So yeah, it really, really touched me.
Do you have someone to speak to? Do you get counseling or?
Yes, fortunately, us as an organization, we've got a sister or brother organization in the UK. A Federation of African Funeral Cooperatives. So they offer a lot of counseling, because funeral directors actually need that. Recently we had one funeral director in the Val committed suicide, you know, because this job can be really, really stressful. You know, you can imagine you go to a funeral, while you arrive at the graveyard, they didn't dig the grave. Because that happens as well. So it's very stressful.
Yeah, all right. 10:32.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock on our Across the Desk feature this morning, we are shining a light on the people who do this essential work of helping bury our loved ones with dignity. We've got the undertakers and funeral parlor owners. These are people who walk beside us in times of loss. They're navigating the cultural practices, legal processes. They're dealing with the emotional toll. They care for our deceased loved ones. And we're finding out more about their work this morning. I'll be taking your calls on 011-883-0702, your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Mike, I want you guys to actually guess the most asked question from some of our listeners right now. And I'm sure you get this a lot. There are a lot of them that are saying, Clement, please can you ask them if they've ever witnessed someone waking up? Because we watch a lot of movies, right? And we think, is that something that's ever happened? Never seen that.
No.
Elsabe?
Nah, I've never seen that.
Nothing like that. Not even like a movement while you watch them.
Nah.
Okay, guys, you've got it now. And then, Mike, there was a question as well about how much people are spending on funerals. Are we? Because the culture somehow seems to be changing a little bit. Like there were instances where people didn't mind spending a lot of money. What are you guys observing now in terms of the trend?
People still don't mind spending money. It varies according to your culture, I believe. We are seeing a lot of times people are saying, just cremate my mom, we'll arrange a funeral service later. something like that. But
so are they there though at the cremation?
No. So a lot of times the cremation will take place privately, where nobody attends the cremation. So we would go to the place of death, bring the deceased into our care. We'll arrange all the documentation, get all the permissions for the cremation, and then we'll have the cremation. And the family says, you handle that portion. We will handle the memorial service or a celebration of life. They'll go to a golf club or a hotel or do something at home. So they'll do that privately. Sometimes they have the ashes there, but not always.
Okay.
But there are times where the family wants a Porsche hearse or a Range Rover hearse with 4 Range Rover family cars, and the lead car that's leading the hearse is a Lamborghini or a Ferrari.
Oh my God!
And the casket is R500,000.
Where do you get that? Do you have to now hire?
No, there are funeral directors that specialize in that sort of. Yeah, they've got those vehicles in their fleet.
Wow.
There's a funeral director that's got Rolls Royce hearses.
Sure.
And they use Rolls Royces as family cars.
Yeah. So, Elsabe, how do you deal with family feuds? Because sometimes there are families that are squabbles and this one wants to claim the body. No, it shouldn't be the case. Do you often deal with that? And how do you deal with it so that you are also objective, you're not seen to be taking a side?
Yes, Clement, that's a very good question. We deal with that on a daily basis. We must be mindful of the confidentiality of the deceased and the closest family. So where we pick it up quickly is if we're busy with a funeral arrangement and there's a few members of the family and one of them out of the blue just asks, when can we get the death certificate? So then as soon as they say that, then you know there's a policy that they want to go and claim. So as soon as the other family members hear this, then they want to know, but what policy do you have? And then that's sometimes where it starts. The other thing is also a viewing. Some families prefer, the next of kin prefer, that their loved one, that nobody views the loved one. We just close after preparation, we just close the coffin. And then there's family members that demand to see that person. So we need to be objective and we need to be mindful of everybody. I had a case where a lady lost her husband. He actually committed suicide and she never spoke. They weren't in contact with his family. So on the day of the funeral, the mother and the brothers arrived and they wanted to view him. And she was in the office telling me, no, nobody's viewing him. And the mother's crying on this side, yes, I want to view my son. I want to say goodbye. So I had to step in with the wife and have a big discussion with her and said to her, listen, this is something they will never forget. So don't cause further problems. And in the end, she said, they can view, but you have to stand there. And I said, no, that's fine. I will go with the family. And that meant so much to the mother and the brothers, which haven't seen their loved one in quite some time. So we deal with that and also with money. I mean, people expect the one to pay and the other one doesn't want to pay. And so they go on. So fist fights in front of the chapel, lots of them after the service, people getting physical with each other. We have to remove them off the premises. It happens.
Yeah.
You deal with a lot.
A lot.
You really
I'm telling you, we're from financial planners to counselors to just mention it and we're there. Bodyguards. Yeah.
Nhlanhla, there was a question here as well about how do you then, as funeral undertakers, handle bodies maybe that are dismembered or maybe someone who burned to death? Are there cases like that, and do you still have to handle them and wash those kind of bodies, and how do you handle them when they are in that state?
Yeah, no, we find cases like that, but then you find that others we can't wash because if you touch, the skin falls off. But yeah, we do get cases like those. I mean, I once found somebody who died maybe 8 months. And they found him in the veld, so it was total decomposition. So there was nothing much we could do with that except to put that person in a coffin and go bury because we can't touch. It's total decomposed.
Decomposition. Yes. And then do families sometimes insist on wanting to view the body even when it's not in a good state? And do you normally advise them then as a funeral parlor that we wouldn't advise you to view the body?
Yeah, no, we do that. Mostly, I would say to them, you can come view in the mortuary before we box the person, and don't open it at home because of the smell and the way the body is.
Yeah.
So yes, we do advise on that.
What is the reason, Mike, sometimes for that smell? Because someone was asking also here that, Clement, please can you ask your guests, how long does the body take before it starts decomposing, and before it starts smelling?
Okay, so it's a decomposition so the smell that you smell is the gas that a bacteria gives off. Okay, so the bacteria will start to feed on you, and that bacteria will emanate a gas, and that's the smell that you're going to smell. The conditions that the deceased are in and the cause of death will determine how quickly you start to decompose. So obviously, if you're in a warm environment, you're going to decompose much quicker than if you're in a cold environment. If your organs are exposed to oxygen, you're going to decompose quicker than if there's no stab wounds or bullet wounds, anything where oxygen can get into your body. So there's a lot of different factors that go into how quickly a person would start to smell. We often have families that say they will phone us at 4:00 in the afternoon. My dad has just passed away, but we wanted to stay at home overnight. Only come fetch him at like 9:00 tomorrow. Okay, there's no problem with doing that. We just say leave the windows open, put a light sheet over the person. Yeah?
Or they want to spend some more time with them.
They want to spend some more time with them.
Yeah. Okay. It's 14 minutes before 11 o'clock. Zetu, Mulalo, JK, Velapi, I see your calls. I'll start with them after the break.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
12 minutes before 11 o'clock. Let's go to the calls. I'm going to ask you to put back your headphones on. Velapi, let's start with you. You're in Tembisa. Good morning.
Hi, Clement. Good morning.
Sure. Go ahead, brother.
Clement, the subject you are touching on is a very sensitive one. Firstly, I used to work at the Mosiako Funeral Parlor. That was back in the 80s. I was only 16 years old. Clement, we do talk to the passed on. I remember every time that, especially Fridays when we're preparing them, knowing that the families are coming, we would gather at the back, and then with all the dead bodies lying down, and would pray. And after praying, each and every one of us would go to their allocated bodies, wash them, and as you prepare them, you talk to them and say, my brother, may you rest in peace, you go into your final eternal place, all those type of things. And there is no touching moment, Clement, as when you see families coming and crying, when they come. That moment, Clement, I'm telling you, no matter how strong you think you are, you end up crying as well. And one most important experience I went through, there's a guy that passed on in the same street where I was staying. The family went to the government mortuary to fetch the guy. They fetched the wrong guy. So when the guy got to the mortuary, I said, no, it can't be him. It's the wrong guy. And the uncle was insisting. After the body was prepared, the body could not get into the house, and the cow ran away.
The cow ran away?
The cow ran away, and I had to go to the government mortuary to have the family look for the guy, because I knew. We found the guy after an hour because of the number of bodies that were there. You walk on top of the bodies, you sort out the bodies because you want this guy. and eventually found the guy. It was like at 11 at night. So it's not an easy job, and I want to agree, it's not just a job.
Yeah.
Passion for it.
Absolutely. Velapi, thank you. Yo. Does that happen where there's a mix-up of bodies?
It's sometimes,
and what leads to that?
No, it can happen. What we do as funeral directors, we arrive at the government mortuary with our documentation, and then the staff of the government mortuary actually fetches the deceased and bring the deceased in a body bag to us. So what we try and do, if they allow us, is quickly open and make sure it's the right person, because we usually have a photo, etc.
Okay.
But if somebody died of a motor vehicle accident and there's a problem, then obviously you can't. But it's their responsibility, not ours. That's why they have to give us the deceased.
All right, JK, you're calling from Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning, Clemza, and to your guests. Thank
Sure.
you so much for taking my call.
Go ahead.
So last year, my nephew passed in a car accident, Clems, and I then was delegated to go wash him at the mortuary. And it was my first experience doing that. Now, remember the guys from pathology services, they take the body from the scene and just drop it at the government mortuary until we collected it. And then washing him, one picked up glasses and whatnot. But what shocked me was the guy that works in the mortuary and the ease with which he worked. Because you'd imagine for us, it's the first experience. He had some injuries and it was scary. But after we had washed him, another problem that we had was that his mouth couldn't close. And we now are like, but how do we do this now? Because he's going to be viewed. And the guy in the mortuary gave us two options and said, look, we can either glue his mouth and his lips so that they are closed, or I can seal it with a needle, because he said with the glue it will look a bit ashy when we open him up because the glue will be dry. Then he took out a needle and a thread and just kind of like closed the mouth, and you couldn't even tell. Rona, because we were there, we could tell, but everyone else could not tell, and only later when we told them, they were like shocked. So these are very important people, Clemza. Had you given me that task alone, I would not have done it. So I think they deserve a lot of appreciation for the great job that they do.
Absolutely, JK, and that's why we've got them here today. Thank you for calling us. Mulalo in Kempton Park, hi.
Hi, Clement. Good afternoon, and good morning to your guest there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Clem, I just want to find out from your guest, how do they feel about their colleagues that are now incorporating social media as a marketing tool to a point where they show everything, the preparation, and then you just view that on TikTok? How do they feel about that? Because I feel like a little bit morally wrong.
Are there people who do that? Like they show what happens behind the scenes?
Yes, they show everything that happens behind the scene, even on TikToks and Facebook, and they just share it out there.
Yeah. Are you guys aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, and it's shocking. I mean,
because also do you have consent from the family?
Invasion of privacy as well. I mean, you cannot do that.
Yeah. There's, I know that there is a TikTok channel of a lady that shows you behind the scenes. I've not seen a deceased in the videos, but she shows you what they do in the mortuary and the scenes of the fridges, etc. But from what I've seen of that, there hasn't been a view of a deceased there.
All right. Yeah.
I do believe that doing that would be an invasion of privacy.
Yeah. No, I agree with Mike. I've seen on TikTok a lady showing the behind the scene, but with a dummy. With a dummy body.
Okay.
Not a real body, because I don't think any family would allow that.
Yeah.
So I've seen that. But we use social media because everybody is on social media. So that's why we use social media to market.
What would you say is the most difficult thing about the job and the most rewarding thing about the job?
I think the most difficult part of the job is the long hours. I think it's one of the industries that pays the least in in terms of compensation or salaries. And then also it's extremely stressful. You cannot make a mistake. If there's any mistake, even a spelling mistake, that's something the family will never forget.
Yes.
So you're under pressure, and we're all humans, we all make mistakes, but you're under pressure not to make a mistake at all, and I think that's extremely stressful. My dad always used to say, the funeral industry ages you, and it does. Then the most rewarding one, I would say, is when the family comes in and say, that's exactly what we wanted. We are so grateful. And what's special is, as soon as the family leaves the doors, they're actually your family now.
Yeah. So hugs and the kisses afterwards.
Yes.
Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing for you?
Yeah, no, exactly. Funeral directors often suffer from compassionate burnout because you exposed to that environment all the time. So you need to make plans to have a weekend off or get away, switch the phone off if you can, just so that you can have a break from that. But as I said, those hugs and the kisses when the family comes back afterwards, that's what makes it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I don't know if I can go back to that issue of mixing up of bodies.
Yeah.
Remember, we as undertakers, we don't know the deceased, right? So it's the family that knows the deceased. So what happens most of the time, and especially when you are picking up a body at the forensic pathology, which is a government mortuary, there's a lot of people picking up bodies there. So the families become scared. They don't look at the body properly, because they are scared and they are hurt. So that is why sometimes they would point at the wrong body. It's because they don't actually properly look at the deceased. And when the family comes back very happy with the service you rendered, it's the biggest reward, more than money.
Wow. Guys, thank you so much for coming through. I feel like I know more now, and we really appreciate the work that you do, because you come in when families are too distressed and you help them bury their loved ones and give them a dignified send-off and guide them in that moment of confusion and heartbreak. So we really appreciate the work that you do.
Clement, we would like to thank you for this platform, because if the funeral director is in the news, it's always bad news.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a very special industry and a very special calling, and you can make a difference in somebody's life every single day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Guys, yes?
Can I have a last word?
Yes, please.
I would like to thank all funeral directors in this country. During COVID, they worked very hard. We never had any problems like any other countries. We've seen all over the world, they couldn't handle. But the funeral industry in South Africa, they handled that, and I want to thank them. And lastly, on the 13th August, we honoring women in the funeral industry. University of Johannesburg and Southern African Chamber of Undertakers are honoring women in the funeral industry. So I'm inviting everybody in the industry to come.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have the last.
Yes. I can have another last word.
Last.
No, it's actually such a wonderful news. EduFast offers a high certificate in business management that specializes in funeral management. It's a year course. The total cost for this course is 45,000 Rand, and it's a year course. The NFDA wants to give away one bursary to a lucky listener. So all that we request is that they send their CV, because you do matric certificate, because you need a matric. Just the matric certificate, copy of your ID to info@nfda.org.za, and on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, we will put all the names and we will draw a lucky winner.
I want you to hold on that thought, because after the news, I want to just wrap up with it so you can repeat it, because there were some people asking, how do we get in the industry? I want to send my kid. So I think that's a great opportunity. Thank you for that. It's now a minute before 11 o'clock.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
8 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. We're just wrapping up the conversation we've been having in the previous hour with funeral undertakers, funeral parlor owners. We've been finding out more about what they do, and Elsabe Basilio, who's the managing director at the National Funeral Directors Association of Southern Africa, has got an opportunity for probably you, because some of you have been asking about how you get in the industry. If you want to send your child, where do they study? So, Elsabe, tell us about the opportunity you're giving us.
Thank you, Clement. At EduFirst, they're offering a higher certificate in business management.
Yeah.
But specialization in funeral management.
Okay.
So this is a recognized qualification in South Africa, and the possible career options for this course is funeral directing, funeral business ownership, funeral administration management, funeral undertaking, funeral service managers as well. So we are offering a bursary for one listener. All that we need is your copy of the ID and a certified copy of the matric certificate, and that it can be sent to info@nfda.org.za. And on Monday, we will go through all these documents, and those that qualify, we will choose a winner from them.
All right, and we'll be in touch with you so you can
Yes.
give us some feedback. All right,
Yes.
so you can send a copy of your ID, a copy of a matric certificate, if you want to get this opportunity, to info@nfda.co.za. info@nfda.co.za. Once again, thank you so much to all of you. Mike Collinge, who's with Collinge and Funerals in Nhlanhla Bembe, who's the founder of Rainy Days Funeral Parlor, and Elsabe, of course. Thank you guys for making time for us this morning.
Thank you for your time,
Thank
Clement.